Let's start right here.
I didn't get that.
Was the question? We couldn't really understand. That was the question if he wants to fight Canelo or yeah, would you want to fight Canelo in the future or next?
Definitely, definitely. A big fight like Canelo is something I'm extremely interested in. I think it would be a great opportunity for me and to show the world what I got. So yes, definitely a yes. Arena, uh, the biggest fight.
My bad. I'm fucking up.
Congratulations, David.
Hello, thank you very much to everybody. It's always great fighting here in Vegas, especially at the T-Mobile Arena. The biggest fight of the year, you know, the Canelo Golovkin rematch. To be able to be on the undercard, it's a great opportunity to be able to show what I can do. So, like I showed you guys tonight, what I could do against Gary O'Sullivan. Had to humble him, put him back in his place, and had to show that Lemieux is not just any middleweight. Lemieux is going to be the middleweight. Uh, Big congratulations to Canelo, who fought an excellent fight tonight against Golovkin in the rematch. I thought it was a fair play that he won the fight. It was a great fight, and also is somebody I'm extremely interested in. So hopefully a fight against him in the near future. Uh, Hopefully the fans will demand it. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and extremely happy to be here. Thanks.
I don't know about fans demanding it. They're not going to demand it, but if it happens in December, like they're saying, then I'm cool with it. Let's get a few things out of the way first. Canelo, as of yesterday, has been cleared medically to fight in December. So if you don't know, let's translate this. Why is this not translated anymore? If you don't know, this is up from ESPN Deportes. If you don't know, he had a cut in the Golovkin fight. And for him to fight in mid-September, then fight again on December the 15th in Madison Square Garden in New York, you would think, well, is that enough time for the cut to heal? But according to his team and his doctor, he can fight. Here, let's refresh, see if we can translate. What the hell happened? It was translated at the beginning. Don't get me wrong, you know, we can follow a little bit of Espanol. But also, some more news is that Canelo versus Golovkin ticket sales and pay-per-view buys are pretty much in, even though Golden Boy won't be releasing the official numbers. But Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Golovkin, has pretty much confirmed these numbers with Yahoo Sports, Kevin Oley. So the live gate figures were released on Monday by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and the fight notched the fourth biggest in Nevada history, with the fight generated about $23.5 million with just a little under 17,000 tickets sold at the T-Mobile Arena. The promoters gave away nearly 1,500 tickets. The first fight did $27 million. So take from that what you want. The pay-per-view did around 1.15 million pay-per-view buys. The first one did 1.3 around averages. None of this is confirmed, only media. Like, meaning confirmed as if Golden Boy won't say, yes, these are the numbers, you are right. But this is, you know, the numbers that people are talking about. For example, every year you hear pay-per-view numbers, unless they're like fully in extravaganza, they're never officially released. But nonetheless, you know, they get released anyway by people on the inside. So the first fight was 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. The first fight, 1.15. With the $10 increase in the pay-per-view fight price, the first one was $74.99 for my company, Comcast Xfinity. And the second fight was $84.99. That's in high definition. And if you watched on Fight TV, it was $84.99. Also, you have to factor in today's day and age, you know, streaming is getting, to pirating anything is getting extremely, 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 extremely easy. It's getting easier each year, and pay-per-view is dying because of that, especially when you have people that are putting up streams on Facebook, even though they get taken down. People find another way to put them up somewhere. I was hearing the fight was free down in Mexico, right? And people were streaming that shit, but nonetheless, the pay-per-view was a success. The ticket sales, I'm surprised about, but nonetheless, the pay-per-view was a success. From both fights, Golovkin's going to walk away with 80 to 100 million, and obviously Canelo, about, more than half, a little over more than half of that, more than half, more than that. So, remember Canelo versus Cotto did 900, and streaming wasn't as bad as that back then. People were thinking that Canelo versus Cotto would do like 2.2 million, but I really wasn't feeling the buzz for that. Being Cotto doesn't really, bring too much buzz to a fight. No disrespect. So it is going to be David Lemieux. Let's go over some things real quick. Obviously, you have Canelo, now WBC, WBA, and Ring Magazine 160-pound champion. You have Billy Joe Saunders taking on Demetrius Andrade on October the 20th. We're going to be providing full coverage here on this channel. And also it's going to be here in the States on The Zone, and over in the UK over on Sky Sports Box Office. Okay? You're going to have Danny Jacobs versus Sergey Derevyanchenko for this vacant IBF title that Golovkin was stripped of. They're fighting on October the 27th. These fights between Saunders, Andrade, and Jacobs Derevyanchenko are a week apart. You have David Lemieux, who's the WBA mandatory. You have Ryota Murata, who's taking on Rob Brandt. We're going to be covering this fight. I forgot the exact date for this fight, but nonetheless, we're going to be covering it. And then you have Jamal Charlo, who's the WBC interim champion, and we're waiting on news from the WBC to decide on when they're going to mandate him to fight Canelo. So as it stands right now, Canelo is going to fight David Lemieux. I think that's pretty much set. Oscar has floated the name of Jamal Charlo out there, but Oscar has said many times in many interviews, like, he fancies Errol Spence. Errol Spence would like to fight Canelo. Errol Spence and Jamal Charlo both know, because they're friends, that Canelo and his team will much prefer Errol Spence over Charlo. Go look at any interviews you see with Jamal Charlo and Errol Spence together and talking about it, and you'll see what I mean. I'm thinking that fight could be possible for May of next year. But one way or another, within a year, for Canelo, if he fights in December, then he's going to fight in May, and then he's going to fight in September, right? So either in May or in September, he's going to have to fight Jamal Charlo. He's going to have to, or he's going to have to drop his belt. So for Canelo, if he squeezes in, David Lemieux in December, get that out of the way. And then if he wants to go Jamal Charlo mandatory in May, he would get the respect of a lot of hardcore black boxing fans. I'm not even going to lie to you. He would. Now, they're already happy with him because they didn't like Golovkin too much. That's the truth. I'm not making this shit up. Go look around at the narratives on videos. Just read the comments. You don't even have to listen to the people. I'm not disagreeing with their opinions on things, but go read the comments. People are happy that Golovkin lost to Canelo. So Canelo has, in a way, did something that I was wondering if he would be able to do in his career, not speaking English, is being able to adapt an urban fan base, and he did. Like, my homies, like, I'm talking about people who don't they'd rather be in the club than watching boxing on a Saturday night. But they was like, yo, man, that motherfucking Mexican motherfucker, man. That motherfucker ain't no joke. I remember before Floyd, I was like, that nigga was a bum. My bad, excuse me. But long story short, he's got a nice, like that shit's working for him. This shit's working for him. So if he was to go on to fight Jamal Charlo, not only would it raise Jamal Charlo's stock, like when Golovkin had fought Danny Jacobs, even though he lost the fight, his stock went up. Jamal Charlo was huge, very dangerous. Huge fighter in his prime. And he calls them their lions. He's hungry. He wants to feed. So a fight like that, if they were to go do it on HBO pay-per-view, I say something like that would be, if it does 500,000 pay-per-view buys, that's a success to me. A big success. A big, big, big success. I wouldn't be surprised if it can do. Am I pushing it for saying, you got to understand who Jamal Charlo is. Remember, his resume as of the last couple of years hasn't been the knockouts. Biggest fight was back at 154 against Julian Williams. This is not his fault. It's just that since Golovkin had all the belts, he was tied up with Canelo and the other fighters on the other side of the street. This is a situation where, for example, Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence says Terrence Crawford is on the other side of the street. At 147, that is true. But when it comes to other divisions, for example, 160 pounds, you can say that Jamal Charlo was on the wrong side of the street, not because of his management or not because of his team. It's because of the way the politics and the landscape are. A lot of people don't talk about that type of shit to you. For example, Danny Jacobs versus Derevianchenko was on HBO. Danny Jacobs' contract with HBO should be over this fight, right? He's a Eddie Hearn fighter. Demetrius Andrade and Billy Joe Saunders. One's Frank Warren, the other one's Eddie Hearn. So when you look at the way Canelo is HBO and Golovkin is over there with HBO, Jamal Charlo was kind of out of the mix with that. That's why he needs the WBC to intervene and say, hey, listen, y'all, you and Canelo, get this done or there's going to be a purse bid. And both of these sides do not want a purse bid. And also, Canelo at this point in time in his career cannot afford to drop any more belts in regards to reputation. He's got some nice momentum right now. Despite what you think of the outcome of his fights, still, he's proven that he's a star and people will still watch his fights. So, he can't drop that WBC title. He can't. He can't drop no belts unless he goes to 168 or super Canelo middleweight, 164.5, we fought Chavez Jr. Or maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there. I'm just throwing it out there. Floyd Mayweather is not officially retired. I'm just throwing it out there. Could we see maybe a Mayweather versus a Canelo at Canelo weight? Because that's where it would take place at. Floyd would use politics and say, well, listen, you come down to 155 and we fight for all those belts. It's a big incentive for Floyd. And also, Oscar De La Hoya would jump at it. Right now, there's no networks involved because Canelo's a free agent. But we're not going to go too deep down that rabbit hole. Let's focus on Golovkin, David Lemieux, Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence. If it happens, it's going to happen in me and Canelo versus Lemieux in New York. I'm thinking that I'm going to go to that fight. Canelo on the East Coast. Got to go, right? December the 15th, timing is right. Also, you have to factor in Canelo does not have a network. I was thinking that he can go over to ESPN, but Rick Glosser, he's got kind of a shady reputation. He knows it, though, when it comes to social media. But a boxing insider, nonetheless, whatever you think about him or not, was saying that, which I don't know why I didn't factor in when I was saying it, is that even though Golden Boy and Top Rank have two different ESPN deals. We talked about it many times here. Golden Boy's ESPN deal is so much different than Top Rank's. As in, Top Rank is getting money from ESPN, ABC, Disney to put on boxing. They have a lot of money. They can put on, some really, really big fights if they had the fighters. And they are doing the best that they can. and the frequency of fights. We're going to do videos on them on their upcoming fight in like an hour or so. Jose Utkata guy versus Mardana. I forgot his name already. And Jerwin and Calhas is on the card. Right now it's September 25th, 2018, 11:08 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's pretty early still here on the East Coast, about 8 a.m. over on the West Coast. So getting back to what I was saying, which I kind of forgot. Also, you know, I hope Gary Spike O'Sullivan is all right because he got knocked the fuck out. That shit was ugly. And then when he was down on the canvas, like doing that little twitching shit. And if David Lemieux was to fight Canelo, expect for them to likely put a weight restriction on him, not a catch weight. In regards, they say, okay, you got to weigh in at 158 pounds, which I doubt they will. You know, Lemieux, he's got to weigh in at 160 pounds. It's been heavily known for a while now that he's had weight issues, and 168 pounds, he doesn't belong there, in my opinion. So he's got to stay at 160. But also, I expect for them to say that, well, you know, he can't come in no more than 172 or 170 on fight night because for the no more than 10 pounds heavier. Because for the Gary Spike O'Sullivan fight, he came in at 179 pounds plus. Now, that's not saying, like, when they step on the scales, right, and then go directly to the ring. No telling what happened after he stepped on that unofficial scale. He probably had a donut or something. Maybe a couple, maybe, you know, who knows? So I'm sure that Canelo and his team wouldn't allow that. You know, they'd be like, fight night, you know, you come in at motherfucking, you know, 170 pounds or 172 or no more likely 170. And if you come in any pound over, your motherfucking ass is going to lose fucking 100,000 every fucking pound or some shit. They will do some shit like that. It's not unheard of. So going back to the ESPN thing, see, Bob Arum would want a piece in that. You know, if Canelo was to go to ESPN, because I'm sure ESPN would love that. But I was told, like I said, by Rick Glasser, that there's some special language in the contract of Bob Arum, whether you want to believe it or not. But it's very logical, you know, that if anything goes down with boxing on ESPN, it has to go through Bob Arum's hands first. So scratch ESPN. They could do Facebook to say, listen, we put fucking Canelo on Facebook. Obviously, they would need sponsors, and Facebook would have to put up some money. But it's a very, very big deal, and with the size of Canelo as a fighter, you know, in regards to fan base, if they were to put that fight on Facebook, it's going to be millions of viewers. But they got to make sure that shit is right because it would motherfucking crash probably. So you probably staying thinking they would never put Canelo on Facebook. Yo, in the days boxing and, you know, social media age, they would do it. Floyd Mayweather versus Berto, that was really, 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 they wanted that on free TV, PBC on CBS, but Floyd being a diva, from my understanding, he was like, no, I'm only pay-per-view. I don't fight on free TV, even though millions would have watched, even though it was Andre Berto. Millions would have watched everywhere. Crazy. But, you know, he said on pay-per-view. He would have still got paid the same amount, by the way. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Canelo does in regards to his contract with HBO, because right now Oscar said he's shopping him around. People are saying Showtime, but there is some bad blood there. You know, however, it's curved a little bit. It's not as bad as it used to be between De La Hoya and Espinoza. You know, Espinoza runs Showtime, but it's very, very possible. You know, I would love to see it for Canelo to go over to Showtime. That's not necessarily means that he would be fighting Al Heyman fighters. I'm sure they would structure it so that it would be their own. Canelo would have his, and Golden Boy would have their own slice of the new upcoming Showtime budget for 2019. Remember, PBC and Showtime signed the new agreement, more money in 2019, and also PBC has a new revamped Fox deal, more money being injected in. But on TstreeT Controversy, this is TstreeT Controversy Live. We'll see where this goes, and as soon as I hear some news on Golovkin, we're going to talk about him, because as it stands right now, They're not worried about fighting Canelo in May. They don't want to fight Canelo in May. They want to return in April or May and fight somebody of the likes of Ryoto Murata versus Rob Brandt, maybe over in Japan. Billy Joe Saunders, Demetrius Andrade. They can go that route. Remember, Canelo can go the winner of that route too. But there's politics involved. Now, with Billy Joe Saunders, with Frank Warren and BT Sport, and Frank Warren fighters fight on Top Rank exclusively in the States now. So, and then Demetrius Andrade, if he was to win, he's with the Zone. Canelo could possibly go over there for one fight and, test it out with Eddie Hearn, but they got politics, man. I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.